Hi, I'm back. That was interesting. It just suddenly stopped. I don't know if I'm being censored. Maybe I can't say body parts on Facebook Live. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, I was just mentioning that recently a lot of candy actually looks like body parts. There'll be, like eyeball candy, or there will be bones, or there will be, a brain or something else that's rather gross. But people are excited about it, and kids love it, and, they taste good, so they don't care if it's a bone or whatever. But I think it does suggest that there's something more to all of this than we might think in the process of trick or treating. And it's true that in many faiths there were moving rites that would go from place to place. You end up in Christianity with having the pauses, and that's the same term that they use for the pauses of Isis, of going around shrine to shrine to shrine. And then in the Middle Ages there were these Christian rites that would go from place to place, and each place there would be a little bit of a sacred play performed, some incident from the life of Jesus or from a saint or something like that, and so you have that sense of going from place to place for a sacred purpose, and I think this is still being manifested in our very mundane trick or treat. And it seems to be something that's shared by many faiths, that idea of going from place to place. And often you would gather something from the place, like, oh, here's the medal from this shrine, or here's this, thing, or here's this, printed poem, or so on. So the next time you're thinking about trick or treating, there's definitely a third option, which is neither trick nor treat, but a prayerful and spiritual moment potentially. So, anyway, moving back to Lorian's scroll on Osirian thought, I just wanted to also bring up, when she writes, our lives are like a puzzle that may never find all the pieces. We often, are putting, especially in winter, we will be assembling jigsaw puzzles over in the pavilion if it's extremely quiet, and often we're disappointed to find that there may be one or two pieces missing from that. But what the benefit is that meditative quality of mind that people that are assembling a puzzle get into. And I knew a wonderful couple, John and Elaine, who actually would use the assembly of a puzzle as part of their past life investigations. They would choose a puzzle of many pieces, and it would be of a place that they felt that they had some sort of spiritual past life connection to, and then they would just work to assemble it. And they wouldn't, be consistently talking about past lives or anything, but they both knew that they were embarking on this as, kind of a way of honoring this connection that they felt. And they felt that this really deepened their connection, both to each other on this particular place, but also to the place itself. And would often find, if they did this late in the evening, that they might then incorporate it somehow into their dreams and into their dream work. So here again is something that we look at, oh, that's just a thing for children or for people that have nothing else to do in their lives or whatever. And yet it can also reveal to you a spiritual practice that might be useful. So the next time that you are looking at a beautiful puzzle image, you might think, why am I attracted to that? What is the spiritual reason that I'm attracted to this particular image right now? And you may discover that there's more for you there than you think, and that by assembling that picture bit by bit by bit, you may find that it brings you some insights that you would not have expected. Just as the rites, the so-called trivial, superficial rites of Halloween, even the gathering of candy, can, with the right attitude, be a pathway to deeper spiritual understanding and knowledge, and can reflect ancient practices too. We've been human since we've been human, and so the things that attract us now as people probably attracted us then as well. So There's not a lot of difference between us and those who lived 3 or 5 or 10 or 15 or 20,000 years ago. And I was very intrigued recently by something I saw. They, found some footprints in a particular area, actually on the island of Crete, that I so adore. And they're thinking that it's a unknown hominid that probably was running around there based on the geology of the area as long ago as 6 million years ago. And also on Crete, they've discovered evidence of navigation and shipbuilding that they believe dates back about 750,000 years. And this is totally out of the usual way of looking at the time that humans or human-like beings have been on this earth. And especially the one about the seafaring, that's a good archaeological study, but they just can't believe the numbers that they're getting, because it just doesn't add up with what we think. So we may have been at this even longer than we think, and I think we have been thinking fairly similarly for a very, very long time. And I wanted to touch on what she mentioned about, the fire that totally destroyed everything for her. This was when she and her husband were living down in the Los Angeles area, and they indeed woke up to their house on fire, literally, and scrambled to get out, and got out with almost nothing. And one of the things that she did get out of or find the next day was her enamel. A small kiln had survived the fire. And actually the kilns may have been the problem that caused the fire too. But one small kiln had survived. And so she took that. They borrowed money. They got on a Greyhound bus and they came up to the San Francisco area. And she was, wearing clothes smelling of smoke. She had nothing else. And from that, she managed to make her way. And that began as her selling small clay sculptures on the street corners of San Francisco. Now, we're used to that, used to artists doing things in San Francisco now. This was back in the 1950s. And she managed to just proceed, and gradually she was able to open up a shop. And then she also moved more into the enamels and began, her enamelware factory. And that is what brought her success and money. Because as much as she adored her husband, Dion, he was never exactly the best of providers. He was a filmmaker and artist himself, and had his challenges in terms of substances and things. And so all of it fell pretty much on Lorianne's shoulders to provide for both of them. And she did. And it started out with little clay animals she was selling on the street corners of San Francisco. So when she talks about, coming from nothing when things have really been devastating, she knows what she's speaking of. And it's not like anything was ever handed to her. She built it. So, all right. So if anyone has some comments, usually when we do the Sunday Scrolls in the most traditional manners, we'll all be sitting around, either up in the big temple or perhaps around the fire in the pavilion. And a very important part of it to Lady Lorianne was to ask that everyone contribute something. What do you think about this? What is your response to these stories? Because she felt that, spiritual teachings should never be just one way, that everyone had a voice and should be able to express it and connect with it, and not feel that their feelings were being just, utterly ignored, or that they had to make them align perfectly with whoever was up in front talking. And so it's my pleasure to invite you, if you have anything that you wish to say or contribute on this Halloween afternoon. I would love to hear from you. And I'm trying to see if we have anything. Carla, I see you're out there, and I'm wondering if you would let me try and bring you on camera to participate. And I see Phoenixa is there too. Blessings, Phoenixa. So please contribute if you can. Carla, you can deny this, but it's offering me the option to bring you on camera. So I'm going to try. And you will receive an invite. Okay, no, it's saying can't bring Carla on camera. I understand perfectly. I hate when people do that to me too, but I've never done this before, so thanks for being my guinea pig there for a second. And of course, I know many of you are also preparing for Day of the Dead. We are going to be setting up our altar here too. And so if you have images that you want to send to us, that you want us to print out and include on it, you're more than welcome to do that. We'll be doing that tomorrow night. And so I'd love to receive these things. Yes, Marky's remembering when we would have tea and cookies after. Yes, we always had good tea and cookies after our Sunday salon. A little bit of reward, but also a little time just to be with each other in fellowship and to be able to chat and connect. So I'm hoping that we get back to being able to do that freely and without fear soon. And Phoenixa is missing her dad and folks, and also celebrating the happy anniversary of meeting us in 2017. So God has blessed that. Yes, that was a good day. Thank you for joining with us, and so many times since too. All right. Is there anybody else or anything else to which we should attend? And again, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to do this on our Isis Oasis Sanctuary page, but for some reason I could not get the live option to come up on that. And there's always a certain element of mystery as to when that appears or doesn't appear, and I'm sure it's some technical lack in me that makes it happen. But yes, and Phoenixa says she'll send some pictures, and anyone else who wishes to, please do so. All right. Well, blessings to all of you who have attended this Sacred Sunday Salon, and I will just show you what we were looking at a little bit. I know some people were not here for the beginning of it, but we're up here in the house where we have this little altar to Lorian, and showing her in her fairy goddess mother role there, and on one of her trips to Egypt here, and with lots and lots of ocelots in her arms right there. And of course here, this is one of my favorite pieces actually. This is one of her enamel pieces that she did, and it was from things like this that she was able to acquire the oasis and lead her life. So very, very basic pieces that went everywhere and brought her great good fortune. And we can look out at the, normally I would be looking at Geyser Peak, but the rain clouds are coming in, so it's concealed behind them, and I probably won't be seeing it for a day or two. All right. Well, Goddess bless. I hope your Halloween brings you insight. If you are going trick-or-treating, please think about Osiris and bringing together all your parts as you do so, and having the connection with ancient processions that we have disguised as a game for children, but we know that sometimes it's much more important than that, though games for children are very important too. So Goddess bless you all. Thank you for being with me for this, and I hope that this juncture in the year brings you great new insights and great understanding, and prepares you for the next period of time ahead as we move on towards winter solstice. Goddess bless.